Welcome to 11 Recaps. Before we start, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps me keep creating content that entertain you. So, can I count on your support? Thank you for subscribing. Today, I will provide an overview of the web series titled The Rig, which premiered in 2023. It currently holds an IMDb rating of 6. The first episode introduces us to the Kinloch Bravo, an oil extraction rig situated in the ocean. A large crew operates this rig, led by Captain Magnus Macmillan. Among the crew members is a young man named Baz, who is eager to return home after an extended period of work. However, he learns that Fulmer will be the one to leave instead of him. Rose, a key figure on the rig, oversees the operations. Suddenly, the rig loses all communication, leaving the crew unable to contact anyone outside. In response, Captain Magnus reassures the crew that this is merely a minor issue that will be resolved shortly, although the crew members are anxious to return home. Baz voices his frustration, questioning why Fulmer is being sent home in his stead. As night falls, the rig begins to tremble, prompting the crew to don emergency jackets. They attempt to call for assistance from a nearby boat, but their efforts are unsuccessful. Meanwhile, the pressure from the oil below increases, necessitating a temporary reduction in pressure. Rose expresses concern about the potential losses this may incur, suggesting that her priorities may not align with the crew's safety. It becomes evident that Rose has feelings for Fulmer, as she arranges for him to take Baz's place on the holiday. For the first time, the crew experiences the rig shaking. They notice a thick fog approaching, enveloping the entire structure. Realizing the need to restore communication, Baz and Fulmer ascend the communication tower, but the fog proves to be dense and obstructive. While attempting to make repairs, Baz falls from the tower, sustaining serious injuries. Captain Magnus fears that Baz may not have survived the fall. Dr. Cat Braithwaite, the rig's physician, attends to Baz and concludes that he requires urgent medical attention, necessitating a helicopter evacuation to a hospital. A man named Lars expresses his anger towards Dr. Cat, demanding that he fix Baz immediately. Fulmer feels guilty for Baz's fall, but Rose intervenes to calm Lars down. Lars then directs his frustration at Captain Magnus, insisting that he should arrange for a helicopter. In his agitation, Lars gathers the crowd and incites them, revealing a document he obtained from Captain Magnus' office. He claims that the rig is set to be shut down in a few days, a fact that Captain Magnus has concealed from them. At that moment, the crowd notices ashes falling from the sky amidst the fog. Remarkably, Baz, who had previously been unable to walk, now appears at the top. As episode 2 begins, Baz is brought back downstairs, exhibiting unusual behavior. He warns that someone may be approaching and that a massive wave is imminent. Meanwhile, Lars is confined to prevent him from inciting further unrest. Baz inspects his wound, which is healing rapidly. The group then realizes that someone is attempting to communicate with them using Morse code, leading them to speculate that it might be from another rig. Ivan is dispatched upstairs to decipher the Morse code while Captain Magnus checks the food supplies. However, Ivan's condition deteriorates significantly. Baz has now fully recovered and begins experiencing visions of someone drowning the rig. He changes his clothes and escapes, seeking refuge elsewhere. Ivan descends to take a shower but tragically dies there. Lars manages to break free from his confinement. The group now faces multiple crises. Their friend Lars has vanished, Baz is missing, and they have lost a companion. A man named Alwyn approaches Baz and invites him inside. However, Baz responds with a single statement, indicating that the situation is repeating itself and that they are coming again. Subsequently, he kills Alwyn. Meanwhile, a boat is en route to their location, as Lars has entered the control room and sent out a Morse code message to summon it. Unfortunately, the boat fails to reach them. Rose discovers that what they believe to be ashes is actually a parasite. This revelation implies that if a person's blood comes into contact with the ash, it has the ability to heal them. Conversely, those who cannot be healed will perish. This was the case with Baz, who experienced healing. Consequently, the group decides to quarantine those who have been injured. At the beginning of episode 3, Captain Magnus is seen attempting to isolate the wounded individuals. Among them is a girl named Heather Shaw, who is frightened by the deaths occurring around her. She suggests that they should write letters to their families, but a man named Grant reacts angrily to her proposal. As the situation unfolds, fog envelopes the sky, and the group observes that a distant rig has been set ablaze, leading them to believe that no one has survived there. Baz, in an effort to avoid having his blood tested, flees with his blood sample. Later, a meeting is convened where it is decided that some individuals will clean the ash while others will search for Baz. A group ventures to the other side in pursuit of him, but despite their extensive search among the machinery, they are unable to locate Baz. Rose learns that the site where they are extracting oil was once inhabited by numerous creatures millions of years ago, and they are now extracting oil from their fossils. However, one of the searchers is injured, and it is Baz who inflicts the injury. At that moment, Heather catches sight of Baz. She notices that small plants and bushes have begun to grow in the area where Baz resides. Confronting him, Heather hears Baz implore her to stop, as he explains that the oil extraction site was once home to living creatures, and their actions are causing harm. The entire rig begins to tremble once more. Following Heather's rescue, she is taken away by the crew. However, they notice that the source of the gas leak is still active. The flames have extinguished, but the gas is now venting directly into the atmosphere. This poses a significant risk to the crew, as the gas could be inhaled. Consequently, Fulmer resolves to ignite the gas. This task is fraught with danger. Fulmer approaches the gas leak, drawing the attention of everyone present. At that moment, he discharges a flare gun at the escaping gas. This action triggers a massive explosion, yet it also allows the fire to burn more effectively. Fulmer sustains injuries in the process. As despair sets in, some individuals begin to write letters to their loved ones. At the start of episode 4, we find Baz at the oil extraction site, where he decides to shut off the pipe. However, this decision leads to a significant increase in pressure within the pipe. Meanwhile, Fulmer is seen sketching circles on a piece of paper, reminiscent of the circles Baz drew when he was injured. Captain Magnus soon learns of the heightened pressure in the pipe. In response, the team deploys a small robot to close the valve from below, thereby alleviating the pressure, which aligns with Baz's intentions. Using the robot, they observe circular patterns beneath the sea, similar to those created by Baz and Fulmer. By this time, a signal has reached their location, but they are unable to establish communication with anyone. They can only ascertain that the fog has shifted towards the cities. Fulmer is gradually mirroring Baz's condition, and Baz reaches out to Fulmer, indicating their newfound connection. Captain Magnus gathers the crew to inquire if anyone has managed to contact the outside world. The crew reports that they have had no communication with anyone. They also mention the availability of lifeboats and suggest that they should utilize them to escape. A discussion arises between Lars and Dr. Cat concerning this issue. In the meantime, it is revealed that Dr. Cat is expecting a child. Fulmer, having been summoned by Baz, moves to another section of the rig. Dr. Cat follows Fulmer and observes that the vegetation in the area has flourished significantly. They then notice a small boat approaching. At the beginning of episode 5, it becomes clear that the boat carries survivors from another rig. However, Rose insists on conducting an examination of them first. Among the newcomers is a man named David Koch, who heads directly to the control room, claiming to be the captain of his rig. Rose attempts to inquire about the events that transpired on his rig and how they managed to escape, but he remains reticent. Fulmer approaches Baz, having aligned himself with the group. Both Rose and Captain Magnus grow suspicious of David, as he has remained in the control room since his arrival. Upon reviewing the personnel list, Heather discovers that there is no record of a man named David Koch on the other rig. Rose, meanwhile, is drawing a circular pattern and notes that there are 5 circles in total. She expresses uncertainty about what will occur once the 5th circle is completed, but she is certain that it has not yet been finalized. Fulmer returns to Baz, who informs him that they have reduced the pressure in the pipe. Baz instructs him to shut down the entire system, as he is unaware of the implications. David then gathers 3 individuals, asserting that he knows how to halt the process. He proposes that they release gas where Baz and the others are located, which will incapacitate them. The group is instructed to go outside and connect the CO2, and Lars decides to join them. Fulmer informs Baz that he will not be shutting down the system. At that moment, CO2 gas begins to seep into their location, causing everyone present to either lose consciousness or perish. David secures all exits from the control room, allowing only 2 individuals to escape through one door. Rose, infuriated with David, asserts that he cannot act without her authorization. She rushes to assist Fulmer, successfully extracting him just as he loses consciousness. Baz regains his senses after having fainted as well. The opening of episode 6 reveals the circumstances surrounding the fire on the other rig, as recounted by a boy named Harish when Captain Magnus inquires about it. David had completely shut off the oil pressure and released another gas from the source of the oil, which ignited a fire on their rig, prompting their escape to the current rig. When Captain Magnus questions David, he asserts that there is only one viable escape route. To survive, everything growing beneath the sea must be eradicated, necessitating the complete incineration of the rig. At this point, 5 circles have formed even beneath the ocean. Rose urges Fulmer to reach out to Baz, hoping he will heed their warnings and halt the ongoing crisis. Fulmer attempts to contact Baz, but discovers that something in the ocean is deteriorating at an alarming rate. They also learn of an impending massive wave that threatens to annihilate them all. Consequently, the group considers seeking David's assistance, although they are apprehensive about the potential casualties his plan may entail. Rose devises a strategy to descend and communicate with Baz in an effort to persuade him to intervene. David, accompanied by one of his crew members, Harish, informs him that the helicopter is approaching. He offers to take Harish along if he follows his instructions. They arrive at Baz's location, where they observe an abundance of bushes and plants. They urge Baz to halt the ongoing situation, but he responds that it is too late for that. David had intended to destroy the entire rig, but his crew members intervene to prevent him from doing so. At that moment, 2 helicopters arrive, prompting the crew to prepare for boarding. Meanwhile, Captain Magnus invites Baz to join him, but Baz declines, asserting that this is now his domain. Suddenly, a massive wave approaches them. However, by the time the wave reaches the rig, the crew has successfully evacuated via helicopter, leaving Baz behind. Baz discovers a door leading to another world and steps inside. Once aboard the helicopter, the crew realizes that David is not taking them to the cities, but rather to a different location in the ocean. The wave that threatened them has now moved toward the cities. Thus, Season 1 of Rig concludes. I hope you have appreciated my summary. Thank you for watching.